Good evening, everyone. Delighted to be here at the backyard of Blas. Thankfully, or proudly supported by Bank of Ireland, so we're delighted to be here. I have a great panel for everyone today to get the best out of Blas this weekend. When you're going in and out of the showcase, Cara's going to tell us a little bit about that as well over the weekend, and how best you can utilise your time here. We have a branding expert, Annie Dunne, who's going to tell us a little bit about her background and how, to make the best out of your weekend here. We've Cara Murphy, I mentioned, who's responsible for the showcase, really, putting it all together, and Malachy O'Connor. If you don't know Malachy has formerly a buyer and is now also on the panel with Annie, of the mentorship for the backyard. So we'll start with you, Annie. If you'd like to give us a bit about yourself.
Super. Hi everybody and welcome to Blas. It's fantastic to be here. I'm super excited and I'm sure you all are. And also I'd like to take a deep breath to say we've got here, because I'm sure for all of us, there's been production challenges, ingredient challenges, even maybe getting your product here has been a challenge. So well done on getting here. I run a food consultancy business called The Art of Great Food. I'm probably getting more well known for my newsletters that drop into everybody's inboxes on a Friday morning. If you haven't registered for that newsletter, feel free to do it. You won't be getting one tomorrow morning. You'll be glad to know I'll be doing a bumper Blas edition next week instead. But I suppose I've been in the industry for 25 years. I have a mix of manufacturing background. Started off in manufacturing, actually in Kerry Foods, and then went into retail with Superquinn, formerly Superquinn. Some of us will certainly remember the brand, and did a range of different roles there, from product development to category planning to buying. And then I went across the waters to the little green corner shop called Harrods in Knightsbridge, and I was head of product innovation there for 10 years. And I suppose I've been coming to Blas. So in the early days, I was part of the producer side, bringing product and hoping we were going to win. And then over the years, obviously came across the waters as a judge, and I suppose a judge, but also looking for Irish treasures, as I'd call them, to take back to Harrods and to work with Irish producers on growing them and developing them across the waters. So that's a little bit about myself.
Yeah, brilliant, Annie. And I'll come back to that, actually. You've an interesting story about someone you did meet here and brought back over across the waters. Yes. So, Cara, would you like to tell us a little bit about the showcase? What you see next door is just incredible, and you put it together. You're here, I don't know, a week at this stage, but you've been here over the years, almost 17, I'd say, is it?
I'm 14 years.
Wow.
Yes, okay. I fell into it. I came down judging, supporting and helping Artie. Actually, I was to work for a company called Muller Yogurts, a UK business that were sourcing a dessert company, and somebody had said to me, if you can get into go down to the judging, and you might be able to source an actual dessert company down there. So I came along to judge and started chatting to Artie, and I was invited to, there was a little showcase over in Benners, and at the time it was literally moving the whole thing that used to be up in Skelligs and moving all the products down to Benners overnight, literally, and it was just put together very, very quickly. And there was a couple of producers there. It was very, very small piece at the start. It was third year in or something. And next, one of the producers turned around and said, after winning a fantastic accolade, turned around after winning gold and said, "What am I going to do with this?" And I just heard, and I was at the side, and I said to him, I went over to Artie and I said, "They're just after winning gold and they don't know what to do with it." I said, "They need to take that to the buyers." So I started talking to Artie about it, and again, year on year, it's grown, it's gotten so big. I remember Annie being there, coming from Harrods, Malachy coming in as a buyer and having that conversation, and all the producers and the buyers were in the same place at the time. So then we moved over to the cinema in Daggett Lane. Greenfield site, all excited, new build, new marquee event. But by God, the work that goes in behind it is phenomenal, from the Blas team, but also the volunteers, everybody that's there. But one thing I really do want to say is, I want to say congratulations to every single producer that has arrived here today. They're all winners. Yeah. Being a finalist is being a winner. So then, coming back to the showcase of now today, it's gone from strength to strength. We now have a showcase walk with all the buyers. They come for a private session earlier on today.
So that's the space beside us here, if you haven't been already, where all the products are laid out, all the finalists are shown.
We've had our sponsors, Cross Rental Services, do all the refrigeration, have brought in, we started on Monday. This was built, all of this was non-existent last Friday, if you really think of it. This village wasn't here. And Monday morning, I came down with the team and we went in, and the product, all the ambient product was in. So we started merchandising from then, trying to put it in within its category to support and do a walk, make it look like a supermarket walk for the buyers to come in. So then they were all in today, and very, very happy with a lot of new products. A lot of new producers this year have come in, and we are now. Tomorrow the awards will be inside there, and all the producers will be inside there as well. So it's been phenomenal. I mean, one of the products that one of the buyers, all of the buyers were very, very interested. One of the producers here, and I spoke to her about it a while ago and said, "You're good this year. This is something that you've developed your product." Annie worked with her on the packaging, and there's great interest currently at the moment.
Great. So you're in the thick of it in there.
Yes.
Okay, and I'll come back to you with what you can give people advice on. Malachy, this brings in you nicely.
So my name's
Tell us a
Malachy.
little,
Yeah, my name's Malachy O'Connor, and it's just brilliant to be here. It's like literally one of the most exciting weekends of the year. It's so foodie and so friendly and cozy, but like full of opportunities this weekend. And I suppose my background is in retail. I was a buyer and buying director in lots of different retailers like Tesco and Aldi and others before that, Dunnes, Superquinn, BWG, M&S, yeah. So, and the last 8 years I've been working for myself, and there's two main things I do. I help companies formulate their strategies. We're like, where do they want to go? Where are they now? How are they going to get there? And then part of getting there is about commercial skills like selling and negotiation skills. So I do lots of work in that area as well. I've trained hundreds of folks over the last couple of years, especially with all of the inflation and cost challenges that have been going on. So so that's what keeps me busy. And on a weekend like this, I have my first-hand knowledge of how powerful it is. Like, what was the first year of Blas? 2009 was it, or 08?
17 years.
17 years.
Yeah.
What's that? 2007, yeah. So I think my first year to be even aware of it was 2008. We had just launched specially selected Angus steaks in Aldi. And I was the meat buying director, but then I also, by quirk or coincidence, became the marketing director as well. So, and I got a call from my supplier, and Eddie Quilty was on the phone from ABP saying, "You know, I think we might actually win something here." And I didn't even know he'd entered the product. And we ended up with a bronze or a silver or something like that. But it was just so powerful because everybody knew Aldi was cheap. Nobody knew they bought anything in Ireland. And nobody knew anything about their quality or their provenance or supply chain credibility. So to pick up a silver or a bronze in a Blas na Heron for like a premium product like an Angus fillet steak was just powerful. And the fact that we could convert that into PR and media literally the next week, because I was the marketing director who decided what went into the newspaper and what went into the leaflet, and then when you do that, and then your sales go whoosh like that. Yeah. So that was my first-hand knowledge of just how powerful a weekend like this is.
Yeah.
So
it's really powerful. And I suppose, Annie, for everyone here in the room and for new faces this year, which is exciting, what is your advice to people out here, as producers here?
So I think sort of building on what Brian and Sharon and yourself were saying in the earlier session, you know, about being really clear on what your unique selling point is. And tomorrow, actually, on the branding session, we'll be talking about your onlyness. So what's your purpose? Why it's not just your product? It's like, what is the role of your business? You know, are you doing greater good? You're not just selling a product. So I think really have that pitch, you know, practiced and sort of down to 60 seconds, so that you can use that as and when you talk to people, because you just don't know who's going to approach you. You're not sure if they're a journalist or a buyer. But beyond that, when you get into that conversation, I think it's really important to almost turn the conversation into, well, what's the buyer looking for, or what's the journalist looking for? So be ready to, and Brian talked about confidence. Be confident in asking them the questions about, well, what do they see as the gap in their range at the moment, or in the market? What trends are they after down here at the show? And then play back your pitch, sort of almost building on those trends, building on what they've told you about their business. And that way you create a conversation, and that's the start of the relationship that's likely to happen. The other thing is, I think, be mindful of who you want to approach. So there are obviously a whole load of buyers from food service and from retail here, but who do you see, listing your brand? Where do you want your brand to show up? And use that wish list to navigate your way around the showcase and the couple of days that you're here. So just suss out where those buyers might be, or the journalists might be, whoever it is that you want to approach, and make sure that you remember, your wish list, so that you're going away kind of feeling like, God, yeah, I gave this weekend the best opportunity I could. The other thing to really think about is to use the weekend to gain feedback. So, you're all finalists, which is fantastic. You may or may not win a piece of glass tomorrow. That's okay, because you know what, you're here, and actually there are lots of people, other producers, retailers, ourselves here as mentors, that you can actually talk to and get under the skin of maybe where your product or your packaging or your business might need to work on. And between now and next year, it's amazing, having been involved over the last few years, the number of businesses we've seen really excel themselves year on year on year. And it started as a conversation or a piece of advice that they may have got during this weekend. So really use it again to just gain feedback and to build on your business, and to bring that into your strategy for the next 12 months. Would be another sort of solid piece of advice I'd give you.
Yeah. There wasn't there, I did mention earlier, that you touched on. Can you talk about that? The example of when you were coming over as the buyer of Harrods that Cara mentioned.
Yeah.
It's a really good example of.
Yeah, so Mina's Nougat, who we all know and love fondly. So, a global iconic brand like Harrods, surely we can go to their origin for Nougat. And we were working on a confectionery strategy at the time, and we had identified that actually our nougat wasn't good enough, as well as lots of other confectionery. And as a judge coming across each year, you'd sort of have a wish list of where my gaps were in the range for Harrods. And in judging a nougat at the time, I didn't know it was Mina's. I thought, gosh. So straight after the judging, I went over to Artie and I said, Artie, who produces the nougat? And he said, Mina's. And I said, who? And I didn't even know how to pronounce Mina. and she, I'm not sure if she's here yet today, but Artie said, no problem. He said, I can connect you. And I had to fly back to London the following morning, but on the way back, I got a call, or Artie put a call into Mina, and then Mina put a call into me. And before you know it, we had connected. And she then, 12 months later, went onto the shelves of Harrods as the own label nougat producer. So that was a real gold find for me that year. And there were lots of others as well, but a really good example. And she's built a very solid relationship with the business ever since.
Thanks for sharing that, Annie. I just thought that's a lovely story to show from both sides, from your experience. Cara, so for you in the showcase and your role as well, what your role is now, you might tell us what your role today.
So my own business is Routes to Market Consulting. Yeah. I work with, specialise working with small to medium producers, getting them on shelf. Yeah. Realistically, the pull through and execution at store level, all understanding that. A lot of producers, lovely, know how to produce. A lot of them don't know how to sales and market it. So specialise in walking them through, walking the walk, and showing them how to get themselves on shelves. There's lots of systems and processes out there with retailers and food service, different lingo, different languages that they don't understand. So it's just transporting breaking them down for them, making it simple. Like, we all know the terminology out there internally ourselves, but for them to understand it, like I was on a call the other day, actually I can say it here, with Isabel for Tesco's, and we were speaking, and one of the buyers turned around and said the mod, and I had to stop a second. You have to explain to her exactly what that is, the bay, the whole lot, the terminology, that breakdown. However, from my point of view here, mainly it's ensure you have product. I just spoke to the guys there a while ago. We've got 60% of product. This is an absolute must. You've won. You're here as finalists on taste, but the buyers walk was today, and we were missing a lot of products. So we're just saying to you, you're missing a trick if you don't have your product here on the day the buyer's here, and tomorrow as well. So a lots will turn up tomorrow, but it's kind of imperative that you have it so that we can work with it and we can sell your product for you and connect you. So the other thing is you used the word connect. We as the Blas team are here to help. A lot of producers would be shy. One particular event I was at, one of the producers said, I can't go over to the bar, and I said, you can do it, you can tell them your story, which we all say, tell your story. I said, but if you want, I'll go over with you, I'll introduce you and leave you at it then. And she actually rang me the following day and she says, fabulous, we're now on a trial with retailer at the moment. So it's as easy as that. But I do say, use the Blas team. We're there. We all have our badges, the whole lot. These are fantastic. There's passes, tells you about all the stories, all of the planning that's gone into it. Utilise it, and make sure that you turn up for the experts are here. Utilise it.
Yeah. And Malachy, that's brilliant, Cara. Thank you for that. And Malachy, what's your nuggets of advice for everyone in the room here and who are watching?
Well, I would just say don't leave any opportunity behind, because the role of a buyer, as my experience of it was 95% administration and boring meetings and a bit of office politics and stuff like that, you know. So, I mean, actually getting to meet somebody who's passionate about making what they make is way more interesting than sitting in front of a spreadsheet. So, that little introduction, if that's all it takes, then the buyer is definitely open to talking to people who are passionate about what they make. So don't leave any opportunities behind. But I would suggest that people should be very kind of clinical about it. Like if you make a product in a particular product, they all sit in categories, families of products on a supermarket shelf, where all the similar products are all displayed together, and somebody's responsible for that shelf in the buying office. So I'd be getting on LinkedIn and finding out who that is and know what they look like and who their boss is and who's on their team, and when you're walking around you'll spot them, and don't hesitate to go and talk to them, or somebody will introduce you. And you know, don't leave any opportunities behind. Do you have any one? I'm going to ask a question if I can before I open the floor. Do you have a one standout, you know, producer that came to you and went, that's different? Because Malachy, you've heard a lot of stories, I'd say. So is there one that stands out for you that was really clever? I really liked the way they did that. Really early days, I remember it was when I was in Aldi and I was buying fish as well as part of Fresh Protein, and I met Tatiana from what's the sushi company down in Waterford?
Oshi.
No, it's not Oshi. It's the other one. Anyway, I should know.
Sushi King?
Sushi King.
No, anyway. She makes sushi, and I was buying fish, and I was like, I love that product. I would love to do that, and I just thought it was a little bit early for Aldi to be doing sushi, and because I had only just introduced fresh fish at that time, and we needed to get that kind of bottomed out first. But we met every year for like 2 or 3 years. Then I left and I went to Tesco, and then I was working for myself, and then all of a sudden Tatiana's doing a lot of business with Aldi. She's nationwide with Aldi, and does all of their sushi with like 3 or 4 days shelf life or something like that. So it was really, really good to have those conversations. The early days. Yeah, in the early days, and say there's definitely an opportunity here.
I think just to build on that, I think, you know, after Blas, so the start of the conversation happens here, but once the weekend's over, create a plan. So sit down next week, you know, when we've all recovered, and just think, okay, what and who did I meet that I really want to follow up with? And even if it's just 3 actions, I always say the power of 3 is great. 3 actions, follow up, and persist, because the first follow-up may not actually get a reply necessarily. As you said, the inbox for a buyer is really hectic. So actually you might need to follow up a second time, or you might need to think about maybe dropping some samples in or whatever, but persist, because if that conversation was a good conversation and you had a good vibe from that conversation and it was one of your wish on your wish list, then follow up and make sure you have that plan and think about, okay, in 12 months time I'd love to be on the shelves. And just to plug before we finish, the swim. Again, for those who were here for the earlier one, we might have mentioned it a couple of times, but last year, I'm just suggesting it may be a networking opportunity that people haven't thought about. It's not about getting into the cold water. It's about who could be there, because there was a producer and retailer there, and they connected through the swim. They had a conversation, and they're now getting listed in that retailer. So again, there are multiple ways to start a conversation. It doesn't always have to be with your full clothes on.
And I love this. Kind of all brings it back down. And if anybody has any questions, please let me know. We'll throw some questions at you. But it's about the long game again as well. So, like you say, it starts here, and then it's quite similar to Pure. It's the long game. It's the relationship building.
That's it. How many people is it their first time at Blas?
Wow.
Oh, okay, yeah. So quite a few, yeah. So it's unique and it's different, and it's something that, I think once you've been, like us all who've been here for many years, you'll certainly want to come back. But imagine yourself coming back in 12 months. Think of that action plan. What would you like to have achieved out of this year's, so that when you come back next year, you're like, gosh, I'm so proud. We've moved our business on another step and another step. And actually that conversation or that little piece of advice you gave me, I've taken it on board, and it's really transformed where I wanted to go, or given me clarity, etc.
So does anybody have any questions on that? Thanks, Annie. Yourself. Please, tell me, who are you? And
sorry, my name's Matt from Subu Connect. I just have 2 things.
Absolutely, go for it, Matt.
Malachy, I think it's Glorious Sushi.
It is glorious.
Yeah, glorious sushi. Yeah.
Hey.
Annie, may I ask you a question? Sorry, on behalf of suppliers in the room. You mentioned about a product going into the UK market. Do you have any advice on how that journey was for that supplier, if it was a new market, and what advice you'd?
Yeah, so it was a completely new market for them, and I suppose probably for anything that's new, it was incredibly nerve-wracking, and there was a lot of learning along the way. But I suppose from a retailer's perspective, wearing my Harrods hat, we really looked after that relationship. So we, sort of handheld them through that journey, because we knew that product was going to be a great product on the Harrods shelves. It was just that we needed to find a way to get in it there. So we broke it down into simple steps, worked really closely with the retailer. And I know that a lot of retailers do that as well. So it can feel scary, it can feel daunting. So 2 things I'd say is ask what needs to be done, and if the buyer doesn't know, there'll be somebody within the wider team that will know. And 2, reach out to other producers that have been through that journey already. That definitely helps. And I think, like anything, the first time you do anything is a learning and can feel a bit daunting. But if it's meant to be, it'll happen.
Any more questions? I see Santina and Dee laughing, and Anthony O'Toole there at the back have come in.
I just want to say something.
Yeah.
We have a coffee talk. Blas.
Yeah.
The best place to meet somebody and have a chat. The deals, the wheeling and dealing that goes on the coffee talk is great. And it's just the social side of it as well. But it's a relaxing place to meet, and not alone going for a pint down Dick Max, the sing-along social. I don't know how many buyers I've met out giving it loads. And as you said, Annie, the swim, it's a great place. It's a social event as well, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Really, yeah.
That's brilliant, Karen, and I echo that. And all throughout the tomorrow, there'll be all these panels. Annie, you'll be back here again. Malachy, you'll be back. Saturday morning is the one not to miss as well. That's when all the buyers are here. You get all the inside tips. So that's really one to be at 10 a.m. I'll be here as well. show some showcases of producers that are using their win and what they've done in a year on. So there's loads happening. So keep an eye on this. There's also things happening. We have the quiz tonight at 9. Is that right in McCarthy's? I see Dee down there. I don't know if Annie Dunne is here. Is she at 7 p.m. Is it? Where is it on? McCarthy's pub. So a great pint, I believe, is a going there in a book. Yeah, Ali's book as well. Food writer, also in the food writers.
And Viv, I'm going to be in the showcase all day tomorrow, so if anybody wants to connect with buyers and they want me to go with them, I'll be there, and just come find me.
So you have Annie Dunne, Cara Murphy, Malachy O'Connor here, so do come up to everyone. Don't be shy. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Vivian. Well done, you.
Thank you.